Did you know you can look more confident on camera simply by tweaking your camera angles and changing your body language? But if you want people to come back and watch your future videos, you can't just look confident on camera. You also need to look natural and friendly. So in this video, I'm giving you 13 cheat codes to help you look more confident and friendly so people will binge watch your videos. And these are the same cheat codes I give members of my program, This is YouTube School. Cheat code number 1. How do you feel about me now that I have adjusted my camera? This is a mistake almost everybody makes when they first start recording. They place their eyes in the middle of the screen and they give themselves way too much headroom. Now let's compare what I look like with my eyes in the middle of the screen versus when I have my eyes in the upper third portion of the screen. That's where you want your eyes to be for 2 reasons. First of all, when you're way down here, you look small, and that subconsciously tells your viewers that you're small. You're not a big deal. They don't take you seriously. But also, our eyes naturally go to that section of the screen, the top third portion, when we look at a video. So if we want to connect with our viewers, we want to make eye contact by placing our eyes in the top third portion of the frame. But you also don't want to make this mistake and stand way too close to the camera. That would be like me standing this close to you if we were in the same room together right now. It invades your personal space, and that triggers a person's fight or flight. It makes them uncomfortable. Therefore, they're less likely to keep watching you. Cheat code number 2, stand at least an arm's length from your camera before you start recording. You also want to make sure you have framed yourself so that your hand gestures are in your video. That is going to help you look more confident, but it's also going to help the person watching follow along with what you're saying because your hand gestures can outline what you're talking about. So if I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you 3 ways to look confident, I'm going to put the number 3 up with my hand. That's helping the person follow along as they watch my video. Plus, studies show when people can see a person's hands, especially their palms, they feel like they are more trustworthy and credible. When you're too close to the point we can't see your hands, it subconsciously tells your viewers you're hiding something. Cheat code number 4 has to do with where you place your hands when you make these hand gestures. You want to keep them in what I call the safe zone. That's between your belly button and your chin. And you don't want them to be too jarring. You want them to flow a little bit. If you keep your hands below the safe zone, then you look insecure, like I'm talking to you like this. And if you keep them up here, that's really distracting and it's a little too much for video. And you just use them like you would use them in real life. You don't need to make hand gestures that you normally wouldn't make in real life while you're talking. The next cheat code has to do with where you are when you record these videos. What if I didn't record my videos in my laundry office and instead I recorded them over here? There was actually a survey done and people were asked how they felt about people on video when they had 3 different types of backgrounds. And the one they liked the least was having a virtual background behind the person because it felt like they were, again, hiding something. They couldn't trust them. And then the next one that they didn't like was a blank background because it didn't tell them anything about the person's personality. In fact, they described it as a hostage video look. The video background people liked the most was when they saw the person in their natural environment, like in their kitchen or their living room or their home office, because that let them into what this person was about. It gave them an idea of what their personality was like. Cheat code number 6 is all about eye contact. You don't want too much eye contact, but you also don't want too little eye contact. So eye contact when you're on video is when you look right into the camera lens. That's like you looking your viewer in the eyes if you were standing together in real life. But if you are looking off at your viewfinder, it's extremely distracting. Or if you're looking at yourself on the front of your phone, that would be like you looking in the mirror if you were talking to someone. But you also don't want to look into the camera and never blink or look away. It's natural for us to blink, and it's also natural for us to look away when we're thinking of something and trying to recall something. But you don't want to be looking away from the camera at the end of your sentences and right before you go to B-roll or a graphic. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So let's say I'm about to put up the next graphic for the next cheat code and I look away. Here's what that looks like. And that brings us to our next cheat code. it takes away from your credibility. It makes you look insecure because it's the same as if you are not looking at the camera at the end of a sentence. Versus if I was to say, and that brings us to our next cheat code. Test out sitting down in your videos versus standing up in your videos. Neither one of these is wrong, but they will bring a different vibe to your video. When you're sitting down, you feel more relaxed and you're more likely to lean in, and leaning in is something that's going to help your viewer see you as warm and friendly. So if you're going to be telling a personal, heartwarming story, you may want to sit down for that video. The reason I stand up is because I feel more comfortable, it's easier for me to breathe, and I have more energy when I'm standing up. And I could sit down in my videos, but I just don't. But I'd love to know, do you like me sitting down or standing up, or does it matter? Cheat code number 8. Studies find that videos that use the word you or yours in the first few seconds of the video get a lot more views than videos that don't use words like you and yours and instead use words like everybody, friends, everyone, because the person on the other end wants to feel like you're just talking to them. That builds connection. I also find that when I say a person's name before I go into a paragraph, it will shift my tonality so it sounds like I'm just talking to a friend. I say a person's name before I ever say the intro. I did it today in this video. Sarah, did you know you can look more confident on camera simply by tweaking your camera angles and changing your body language? Another way to sound conversational is to not memorize your script. What I do is I script some portions of my video and then I bullet point some portions of my video. And before I start recording, I break up all of those sentences and bullet points into tiny little paragraphs, and I record each paragraph separately. That way I don't have to worry about leaving anything out, but I also don't have to memorize anything. So this section right here that I just said, I just remembered, oh, this is what we're going to talk about. And then I put my phone down and I started recording. And now I'm going to turn the camera off so I can look at cheat code number 10. Cheat code number 10 has to do with the volume of your voice. And I've mentioned before that this is something I've struggled with because I was trying to bring more energy to the camera because I know that energy levels somehow just get automatically lowered. Kind of like when you gain 10 pounds on camera, you look less energized on camera. And so I was getting really loud. But now I try to keep my volume to about a 5. So I want to sound like I'm projecting because that does make you sound more confident, but you don't want to sound like you're yelling. So I try to keep my voice grounded. Instead of being up here, I try to keep it down here. Cheat code 11 is really important if you want to have that balance of looking confident, but also looking friendly. So I used to think that to be likable on camera, you had to be funny. But then I realized I don't have to make jokes and be funny. I just have to be lighter. I shouldn't take myself so seriously. And so you can be lighter simply by smiling while you're talking, but also I started leaving in little snippets of bloopers and me laughing at myself. Whereas I used to cut all that out. Now when I laugh at myself, I leave it in because I noticed I liked watching other people laugh on camera and leave in their little bloopers. And that just humanizes you and makes you more likable, and they can see your true personality when you do that. Another way to help you relax and lighten up on camera is simply to hold something. You can be holding a coffee cup or a phone, anything, but this just helps you feel more like you in your natural environment. So you're more likely to fall into that way that you naturally talk when you're just talking to a person in real life. One way I connect with my viewer is I will pick an activity that may not have anything to do with what I'm talking about in the video, but I will make that activity an analogy to help me explain a point in the video. I did this in this video here when I spruced up my deck so my family could come out and watch football on the deck in the fall. I used that as an analogy, and then every action I had a different point I was making in the video. That way the video was a lot more entertaining, it was still educational, and it also helped them get to know me a little bit. That video also explained how I got over my fear of posting videos on YouTube. So if you are ready to get rid of your YouTube imposter syndrome, you can watch that video right here or in the link below.